All right, we are here today with Saul Salmeron, licensed marriage and family therapist. Thanks for taking some time with us today, Saul.
Yeah, of course. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, looking forward to giving you a little time to talk about yourself. I know as therapists, we're often focused on someone else. I want to give you a little bit of a chance to have your potential clients here get to know you a little bit and kind of find out some of the behind the scenes info on you here.
Absolutely.
Maybe that'll help them decide if you're a good fit for them. So if you could maybe tell us a little bit about why you decided to become a therapist, kind of what led you down this path.
Absolutely. So it's an interesting story, actually. So originally, high school, I was going to be a rock star. I wanted to, go in to school to be a musician. And then all of a sudden, first year in college, decided, you know what? I don't know if I want to do that anymore. So then I was like, well, default to psychology, right? So then I go to psychology, and then as I'm taking these courses, like I start realizing, man, I really enjoy this. I really enjoy this. I really like this. And then all of a sudden, just an experience that I went through, going through my own personal therapy and through my own, depression, all of a sudden I found myself really passionate about this field and really passionate about what it means to be someone who can help others through their difficult times. So then I decided to pursue my master's in marriage and family therapy after, my own personal therapy and my own depression, and just my phases of life really just led me to want to become a therapist. And then after that, it just felt so natural and organic that I felt like this was a path I had to take and never looked back.
Yeah, I remember being at a conference just for therapists a few years ago, and the person who was speaking from the stage asked the audience, "How many of you became a therapist because you were helped by a therapist?" And three-quarters of the room shot their hand up. I mean, it's such a wonderful field that where you can be helped by someone and then get to go and turn around and give that help back to a bunch of other people in your career. So it's fun to see
Absolutely.
that you're finding satisfaction in giving back to people what you yourself received. Ah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
I got to ask, man, what's this key here?
Yeah, so actually this key, it's a cool little story. So this key is called the giving key. And you guys probably can't see it, but it has the word strength in it. And the whole premise of this key is either obviously you go online and you buy it yourself, or someone hands it down to you who feels maybe they need this in their life. So for me, I actually bought this key, and it has the word strength because during that period of my life, I felt like I needed some strength and encouragement. So I bought it, and all of a sudden, as I started, going through this journey, I was like, hey, this is a really cool concept if I really think about it. So I actually try to wear this, from time to time, even within my sessions or during, since I'm a pastor as well, I'm a youth pastor. I sometimes talk to my students about this as well. And it's just this idea of strength and having strength. And I feel like as I go through this journey of therapy with you guys, my goal is to be able to help you guys find your strength as well. And I feel like therapy can be a very important key to that.
I see what you did there. All right. Well, I've got one other kind of stuff in the room question here I want to ask you in a minute because you got me curious.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
let me move on to something else here. We'll come back to that stuff. But as we're talking about people that you like to help, who is it that you would say is maybe your ideal client, like the person or the group of people maybe that just gets you out of bed and you think, like, I was born to work with these people. Like this is what it's all about for me.
Absolutely. So I think, for me, my heart really goes to anywhere from teenager to young adult, maybe up to like mid 30s or something like that. And that encompasses, a big group of people, but in all reality, high school and out of college, during college, people and couples as well. Because I know that we look at couples getting married at an earlier age from time to time. So definitely that whole population in itself is where my heart is, working with people who are, transitioning from different stages of life, learning, what it is to, to graduate from high school or graduate college. And in the middle of all that, getting married, having relationships. So all that encompassing is really who I feel my ideal clients are and who I just have a passion working for. And on top of that, being Hispanic myself, I know that therapy can be taboo, still in this day and age for Hispanics. So even that much more if the client is Hispanic, Spanish speaking, definitely the population that I find myself leaning towards. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, and you've worked in a few different settings, and certainly this isn't the only population you've worked with, but it sounds like this one really kind of gets you excited. Like this is who you're passionate about serving.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's cool that being able to work from in different locations, because it does give me a very broad understanding of different cultures, not just necessarily my own personal culture, and it's really neat to honestly be able to learn about other cultures as well, because I know that they look at us as the ones who are going to teach them, but in reality, I feel like we learn a lot from them as well, and we had to learn a lot from the different cultures we work with as well, and I think that's so neat as well.
Wonderful, yeah. And you mentioned working in different kind of spaces, locations, if you will. And so our practice is 100% telehealth. And I wonder if you could kind of help people get to know a little bit about what it might be like to work with Saul as a video-based therapist. What is a session like with you?
Yeah, absolutely. So, what it looks like is you'll probably see me with a cup of coffee, right? That's probably what I'm going to be one of the first telltale signs. You're going to see me with my cup of coffee, and depending on the day, right, I'll have my blinds open or not to get some sun. And if it's later out at night, they'll probably be closed. But having a video therapy session here means it just I the way I look at it is flexibility. Honestly, I see it as complete flexibility, because it's a space where even though we're not in the same room, I try to make it like if we are, I have a couch in the back, kind of makes it a little bit more comfortable. I have my plant back there, and I have my books back there, but I also make it my own space, and I think I'm gonna jump the gun here, but I have a couple of Funko Pops back there that I
I was
like to
wondering about those.
occasionally.
Yeah, what are those guys? I can't quite tell.
Yeah, occasionally, depending on who I'm working with, I'll bring them out and we'll talk a little bit about them. I have a fish tank on the other side. You guys can't see it right now, but I have a fish tank as well. And it's just really a space where we can be flexible, right? But at the same time, be professional and take care of business, but also make it, homey. That's really what it looks like to be doing sessions via telehealth with me.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. I think that's the best kind of video session we can do is one where you get to have some space, you get to be in your own comfortable environment as the client, whether you're on a park bench or, in your own home. I've had sessions with people in their cars. Heck, sometimes I do sessions in my own car, right? But you get that flexibility. So it sounds like you can be available for your clients with a little more of your own flexibility in your schedule, but then also you get to have the hominess, and you can kind of
Mm-hmm.
still make it your own space as though someone were coming to visit you. And I gotta know tell me about one of these Funkos behind you here. What characters
Yeah.
we're looking at?
So I have two from Mortal Kombat. I have Sub-Zero and Scorpion, so it's kind of interesting. They're enemies, but I like both of them. So I have both of those, and then I also have another one called the Green Arrow, DC. I've always been a fan of Robin Hood type thing. Bow and Arrow, for some reason, has always been drawn my attention, and that's the arrow. That's his signature. So my favorite color is green. A little bit of self-disclosure there. So the Green Arrow put together, so bow and arrows and the color green. I was like, I just have to
Mhm.
it, and I like superheroes. So
All right, so That's probably why you're working with us, right? Just a green thing, green line, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Perfect. Well, gosh, you've already kind of been talking about this, but I always like to ask people about any kind of special talents or abilities you might have. It doesn't have to be related to therapy, just kind of any little fun facts about yourself you might want to share.
Yeah, of course. So I love soccer, absolutely. I growing up, I thought I was going to be a soccer star, before the whole music star kind of thing. So absolutely love soccer. I could talk soccer with anyone, depending on, the conversation. I enjoy going to soccer games with my family as well. We have season tickets to the LA Galaxy. So we love doing that from time to time. And also music. My passion is music as well. I feel like music's universal, right? So it really does touch the soul. So believe it or not, coping skills, if you guys don't know about that, we'll learn about that as we go through our sessions together. But that for me really, levels me. It levels me being able to play music and play soccer. That's really, the two things that really drive me. And the cool thing is I get to do both of those stuff with my family. So that's like such a big win-win.
That's awesome. I'm a big sports fan too, so we'll save my stuff for another day, but absolutely. What is something that, if you kind of think about the different places you've worked, the different ages or populations or presenting problems that people come in with, what's something that you've found that comes up maybe on a regular basis, or something that you've learned with your clients, or that you tend to teach them, just something impactful that you might be able to leave people with as we kind of start to wrap up our get to know you video here? What's something you want to leave people with?
Absolutely. So I have two things. I'll share one, and if we have more time, I'll share the other. But one thing that always really stands out to me is this idea of many people, including ourselves. I feel like we tend to want to help others, right? We're always wanting to see how we can help someone else, but we sometimes forget about ourselves. So one of the things that comes up in a lot of the sessions is this idea of being on an airplane, right? So if there's a drop in pressure in the cabin, the airbags fall. And one of the things I always tell people is, hey, what do the people usually say when it comes to that? They say, put on your oxygen mask first before you can help someone else put theirs on. And that for me is something that I feel really gets a lot of people, right? Because we're always about like, how can I help? How can I help? I need to help so-and-so. But many times we forget about ourselves. Right? So it's this idea of we have to put on our oxygen mask first. We have to be okay first before we can go ahead and try to help others. So that's one of the big things that I always find myself, telling a lot of my clients, whether they're couples, whether they're teenagers, whether they're adults. I feel like we all need that reminder from time to time, and that's something that I find myself, coming back to from time to time.
Yeah, I mean that's super important, and that's I don't know if you have seen Four Christmases, the Vince Vaughn, Reese Witherspoon movie. That's one of my favorite Christmas movies, and that is absolutely my favorite scene in the movie when they kind of talk about the oxygen mask thing, right? And it's this like, I just want to know that if our airplane was going down, that you would put my oxygen mask on me first. It's like, no. I'm not going to do that, and it was the FAA wouldn't want me to either, right? It's like, no, we got to take care of ourselves. I mean, that's such a great point, Saul. And if nothing else, I hope that when people watch this, that they are remembering that they need to take care of themselves, right?
Absolutely.
That they are important. People are counting on them, maybe even if they don't think that they are.
Yeah, and I think therapy is a one of those ways for people to start putting their oxygen mask themselves first.
Absolutely. Yeah, and as we were talking about telehealth, right, doing video-based therapy, I think that's one way that people can do that, because if you think about how long it takes to get to a therapist's office, it's like, okay, well, what if I can get 30 to 60 minutes back in my day where I can rest a little more, go on a date with my partner, read a book, take a nap. I don't know, I love naps. I don't get to take them much, but I love naps. Like getting a little extra time built into your day, and you can still do the work.
Absolutely.
of taking care of yourself in that way too. So I love that point. Did you briefly want to talk about that other thing? Sounded like there was maybe one more thing you were thinking about bringing up to share with folks.
Yeah, sure. So the other thing that came out to me is and it kind of goes hand in hand with this idea of helping ourselves first. One of the things that I find myself talking a lot with clients on is one of the big questions that I always get usually from the start is how long is this going to take? How long is this process going to take? Right? And I always,
Mm-hmm.
like to look back at people and I say, it's interesting, especially with working with couples, I feel that this comes up a lot. And one of the things that I remind them is it's going to take as long as you guys are willing to put in. Like, that's really what it looks like. The more you guys put in, the more effort you guys give, that's going to determine, how long this is going to take. So that's one of the things that I find myself talking a lot with couples on. And that sometimes really gets them to get a different perspective of therapy, because sometimes it's just, okay, we check the box and we'll move on, but in all reality, that's not how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, how much you guys are willing to give in, that's how quick it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I can definitely say that the times when therapy doesn't work very well, it's usually somebody who's not very engaged, right? They've not bought into the process, and maybe they're looking for that magic wand fix, which I tell you what, man, if I had a crystal ball and a magic wand, I would be a lot better at my job. But when people buy into the process and really kind of give themselves and are willing to try something different, to look at things a new way, to give something a chance, to give that other person in their life a chance, whatever it is, definitely seems to make a difference. So I really appreciate that point there. Yeah. Well, thank you so much. So I'm going to let you get going here, but for everybody watching, I hope that's helpful for you to get a chance to know Saul here. So yeah, hit him up, shoot him a text, email, phone call, whatever, just to reach out and see if it's going to be a good fit for you. But thank you again, Saul, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you. All right, you as well. Bye.